Hello and welcome to Americans Talk Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched episode 23 of Australian Survivor Brains vs. Brawn 2, and there will be spoilers ahead. We open up on the final four. The postgraduates have made it. And as soon as the TV turned on and I saw the dark light and I remembered that Miles had just taken a swing at AJ and it didn't take, I felt like a rock in the pit of my stomach. I was so nervous for him. I thought, oh, Miles, this is such a bad position to be in.
Right, but it didn't seem to faze him much.
Yeah, Miles was not as nervous as I was.
No, because I thought it was going to be a bad situation too. Like, how could you do that to me?
Well, while you guys are worrying about Miles, I was so excited for Zara because she was talking how she had the power to send someone home. It was her decision. And I just loved it, that she is the final female. She has been very strong, and there she was making the decision. Was it the right decision? I don't know, but she was so excited. So she starts off saying how that everyone voted for everyone else, and then she got to make the decision.
Right, so through her detective work, she figured that everybody was getting one vote, and so she would be able to make the one decision as who goes home. A very unique situation.
Yeah, but she went to AJ and she said, listen, I told you the whole time Miles was going after you, and you didn't listen to me.
She did. She told him, and he didn't.
And she said that Miles threw everything off of her decision because he threw in that immunity idol. She was kind of upset by that.
Yeah.
Well, Zara is very proud of herself, as she should be.
Yes.
It was a great move. AJ calls it one of the top 3 moves of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But AJ says, what was Miles thinking? He's cooked.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. A good response.
He even tells Miles that. And he said, listen, they would not take you, but I was going to take you the whole entire time. And what you just did, you put Zara up 3 pegs. So you just messed up your game.
Yeah, and AJ feels that Kaylin will take him to the end and Zara will take him to the end. So he's saying, Miles, you really messed up because this is it. You know, AJ basically sees his path to the $500,000. But he was able to say that he would have loved to be taken out in that way. So at least he can recognize a potential good move when he sees it.
He would have thought it was a great move. Yeah, that's nice of him to say that. Like, you tried, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
But I would have been proud if you did.
And AJ and Kaylin are like, we're sticking together, right? They're not doing anything different.
They say they're going to the final 2. Each one will take the other one.
They called it the perfect tribal. So, but now it's time to cannibalize, right? We made it to the final 4, and now the postgrads have to turn on each other.
Right, it's day 45. I mean, how are these guys doing this? This is unbelievable.
A month and a half of eating rice and beans.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
So Zara and AJ talk, and Zara says she's still taking AJ to the end. But she says, you know, if Miles were to win today, we're going to have to think about getting out Kaylin. And AJ just is like, oh, I can't even think about, you know, like he's just not going to win. He won't even acknowledge the fact that it's a possibility.
Which is a crazy thing to say. Just say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
even if you're not going to do it.
You can lie in the game of Survivor.
Right. Just say it. But, you know, she was so taken aback by that. Like,
well, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, she just saved him. Now he can't even say he's going to help her. That is very, very scary.
Yeah.
I will say, Zara was talking a lot about, you know, if Miles wins. And I'm thinking, has he ever won immunity? Are we really that worried?
No, I know.
Yeah, but
we have Zara.
He's been so close, right? He's very, very close many times. So I think that's why she was so concerned. But
yeah.
I think it was funny because then they go to Miles and he calls Ice Queen. Zara is the Ice Queen. I love it.
I was thinking that if the producers wanted Miles to win, they would come up with some sort of puzzle or something. That's what I was thinking at that point, right? If there's a puzzle, Miles could win a puzzle.
Yeah. Well, I'm still sticking what Miles is speaking about. And he said, Zara, you messed up my plan. He doesn't trust her. And he feels that, you know, maybe AJ isn't feeling so well about him. So now he has to go for Kaylin. He's got to talk to Kaylin and make him see that I'm the only path to the final 2.
Yeah, so Miles' goal for day 45 was to convince Kaylin that he cannot go to the end with AJ, which we've seen Kaylin's a very loyal player. He doesn't really like to lie, so I don't think this is going to go over well for Miles.
Right. And Kaylin says, I'm with you, but I don't really believe he means that.
Yeah.
But it does seem like Miles' best choice, taking Kaylin to the end.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Miles can definitely beat Kaylin.
Right.
Well, now it's time for the immunity challenge of the final 4. It's a big one.
Yes.
So the players today have to unwind the rope with their bodies around these obstacle course. Then they have to decide how much rope they need to get to their key. Once they get to their key, they throw the bean bags to spin that thing off. And then they climb over
A ramp?
a ramp. And then finally, they do a balance thing with the balls on a paddle. So we're hitting all the big points of Australian.
It was a lot.
It was. But I liked how Kaylin was wrapping the rope around his arm and then climbing instead of everyone. It seemed like everyone else just had like a big, pile of spaghetti, sort of.
Yes, but Kaylin went out and it wasn't enough
right.
rope. Like, no.
Well, apparently Miles can estimate better than Kaylin.
I guess so. He was first off and running.
Yeah, I was getting worried for Miles. I thought that his rope was going to get tangled, but somehow his fast
right.
and
I'm like,
furious.
he's going to be 15 feet short, and then he did it.
Yeah, you could tell looking in Miles' eyes on this challenge that he wanted to win. He was just like frantic the entire time, it felt like.
Right, talking to himself.
I don't feel like we've seen that side of him during challenges before. I think this time he really locked in and really was passionate about winning because he knew he had to for his game. He really messed up last night. He needs this win.
He did, right. But you think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? What is going to happen? Is Miles going to be able to pull this off?
Yeah, so Miles is off to a good start. He gets to his key
Huge
first.
lead.
Yeah, he's hitting those bean bags, spinning that thing off. He gets it off first. He gets to the puzzle first, and we see Kaylin and AJ are trying to catch up to him. Zara, unfortunately, is dead last.
Right, yeah, she was pretty far behind, unfortunately.
And then we see Miles dealing with the learning curve of this little ramp thing. So this is really tough because if you knock one off or one of them, somehow
drops.
You lose one, you can't pick it up while keeping your other ones on. So it's all or nothing.
Right, it's start over. Back. You either have them all or you don't. There's no in between. And like, wow, like as soon as you let go, they are all off. Whew, that was a tough one.
But Miles is talking himself through it. He's telling himself to breathe. He says there's a new challenge enthusiast in town.
Right.
And then
the jungle rat, he said something about the jungle rat.
But at one point he had 2 and dropped them.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, geez.
Well, some of us said that. You're rooting for Miles.
Well, yeah. The underdog of underdogs, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, you could tell that Miles really wanted it, and I was worried he was just going to get so nervous and overthink it that he was going to drop them all.
Right.
And then once Kaylin got to the puzzle, I thought, oh, game over.
Yes.
Kaylin, the challenge beast, is going to sweep and,
roll those
no
things down there
Miles.
And just get them in a second.
But lo and behold, Miles pulls it off. He gets his very first immunity challenge when he really needed it most. So
bucket list, check.
And, and Zara's on the other side of the ramp. Oh, no.
Yeah. So,
But congratulations to Miles. That he seemed very emotional getting it. It seemed to have meant a lot to him, both personally and, of course, in the game. He really needed it.
Yeah. Well, then we go back and Zara says worst case scenario. AJ, Kaylin, and Zara have to turn on each other. And then she goes and asks Miles, well, who do you want out?
Yeah, so Zara and Miles have worked together for quite a long time. They didn't vote together on the last vote, and that obviously caused some tension. But, they have been allies for a while, so I understand why Zara's like, well, this is my best chance.
Right. Miles thought they were going to vote together on the last vote.
Yeah, and obviously Miles has the power here. So it makes sense that Zara is targeting him first because she knows that AJ and Kaylin are really tight. So her best option is to vote with Miles. Their idea is that they need either AJ or Kaylin to flip so that they have the majority 3 votes to send the other one home. So they said, I think Zara was like, I really don't have a preference. Just whoever's willing to flip is who we'll target.
Right.
And they think AJ is more likely to flip on Kaylin than to have Kaylin flip on AJ. So they're like, all right, this is our plan. We're going to get AJ to flip. We're going to send Kaylin home. And let's see how that works. Well, it doesn't work out well because then AJ comes up and he makes this announcement. He says, Kaylin and I are not flipping on each other. We are voting together. So now we get into a tricky situation. So if Zara and Miles vote together and then AJ and Kaylin vote together, we're in a tie, and a final 4 tie goes to fire.
Right.
So,
And then here they say, oh, and neither of them are very good at fire. What? 45 days? And you never thought that maybe you should practice fire? It's like not
Zara
looking for an
even
idol,
said,
right? I mean, either look for an idol or practice fire.
yeah, Zara even said, I'm really not too good at that. I was hoping I'd be able to talk myself out of ever making fire. What do we always say? If you're going on Survivor, you have to know how to make fire.
Right.
We have a lot of rules if you go on Survivor.
Yeah.
You got to know how to make fire. You have to be able to tie a long stick together to get a key off.
Right.
We have a lot of different things. So
throw a
if anyone goes
sandbag accurately.
Yeah, if anyone gets cast on the next season, reach out to us. We've got a list of things we want you to do.
Stand on a little stick
Yeah.
for an hour.
We'll give you a list of what to practice. Well, AJ comes up with a good point. So he says so Zara is saying, let's not even worry about fire. Let's just be reasonable. Let's be adults. How about you flip with us? We all vote out Kaylin. Done deal. AJ brings up a good point. If AJ were to vote Kaylin were to vote Zara, and then Zara and Miles target AJ, AJ goes home, no fire, no chance of staying in the game. And so, once he said that, I'm like, yeah, that does actually sound like something Zara and Miles would do.
Right.
Miles wanted him out last time. I would not put it past Miles to get him out this way to kind of trick him like that.
Sure. Right.
So AJ has no trust in them. He says he's not doing that. He said we're going to go deadlock and we're going to do fire, and that's that. So it is exciting that there's only 4 people left in the game, but there's so many options. We're really thinking through every possible scenario, and there's a lot of them.
Right. And it seems like Zara's really playing the game the most.
Oh, she is.
She's really thinking, what can I do? I'm like trying every angle so that I can stay.
She wants to stay alive. She's gotten so far. It's just a shame if she has to leave.
Yeah, she is fighting for her life. So then Zara approaches Kaylin. He says, no, I'm not going to flip. And that's kind of that. He even mentioned to Zara, he said that he was voting for Zara. And he's like, well, you understand. And she says, well, not really.
I know. Yeah.
Zara brings up a great point. She saved Kaylin last night. He was vulnerable without the necklace. It would have been so easy for her to send him home. And she didn't. And he's not really repaying the favor.
Right. It doesn't necessarily seem like he's necessarily targeting her. He's just not going to help her.
Yeah, which is too bad.
Right.
So it's looking like Zara is going to make fire. And she's practicing, which is what we always tell people to do on the show. So I'm happy that she's finally practicing.
Yeah, well, it's funny because she's saying, well, I'm not very good at fire. But did anyone practice before going on Survivor? You have to practice. I don't know.
Kaylin certainly did. He knows how. He seems to have been the fire guy for their tribe for a while.
Right, and Kaylin said that he will help Zara. Right? He can't help with the vote, but he said he will help her with the fire. He's very upset about his position right now.
It is interesting seeing this top 4 because they've been friends for 45 days. They've known each other and they've worked together. And so it's this weird little thing where everyone's being supportive of watching Zara make fire, and they're being nice to her and they're trying to be helpful. And she's like, AJ, do you want to try? And it's this weird dynamic. So I don't know. It's nice to see a Final 4 that likes each other and has been working together, because so many times in the game you hear people say, we're the Final 4, we're the Final 5, and it never happens.
Right.
So it's exciting that these 4 players that have been doing a really great job all game are able to make it to this point. But now when they turn on each other, it's always sad to see.
It is, but it is interesting that, we're going to be the Final 4.
And their brains, and who would have thought Miles, of all people, would still be there? I'm thinking that the people on the Brawn team, they're probably like, oh my gosh, when they're rewatching this on TV, how did this happen? How? Especially the school teacher, I can't remember his name right now, who wanted him out a long time ago. And he's probably like, how is he there and I'm not? You know what I mean?
Max.
It's just Max, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must be like, what? How is this happening?
How's that guy still in?
Right. Oh, but
he
then,
really is the jungle rat that you just can't stomp out.
He is. But Kaylin and Miles talk, and Miles wants to know if Kaylin will vote out AJ, and he says, no, I won't vote out AJ, but I will take you to the final 2. And I'm thinking, well, why would Miles buy that? If you can't vote out AJ, why would you think I would take you over AJ to the final 2? But I guess maybe Miles says, well, Kaylin will know he can't beat AJ.
Yeah, well, it did seem like Kaylin and AJ had been talking about it before, saying, why don't you just tell Miles that you'll take him to the final two so that he'll feel better about getting out Zara.
Right.
Yes.
And Kaylin did a good job. I believed when he was saying that.
Yeah, but this is like the first time Kaylin's lied all game, it seems like. So I'm happy that he's finally getting into the spirit of Survivor.
Right.
But yeah, I think that Miles is smart enough to know, why would he take Miles over AJ if he won't even vote out AJ now? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Right. And then Miles speaks a little bit about how everyone's coming to him, and he says AJ's the master shark. And then AJ pitches Zara to Miles.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. Kaylin and AJ are worried that Miles will go to fire, not for a logical reason, but just for the drama of the game. And I'm thinking that
chaos.
I agree.
Yeah, he loves chaos.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking the same thing. This is going to happen. Miles loves this.
And it makes for good TV. I want to see the fire too.
Right.
Miles knows how to play to the TV. He's a showman.
The tension of building the fire and who's going to do it. And
then Zara going at it, keep trying. And then she makes fire right before Tribal.
Right.
Good job. That was wonderful.
Not AJ.
No, who knows what AJ's doing, but Zara is not stopping. She's fighting every inch.
Yeah. So then we get to Tribal, and we hear Zara say that maybe she made a mistake last night. Maybe she should have listened to Miles because now she's being targeted.
Right.
But she says that she has no doubt in her mind that she will be making fire tonight. And the jury's faces were so excited. They were excited to see a possible fire, just like I was.
I think everyone on that jury dislikes all four of them. Well, I guess Zara they don't dislike, but everyone else they dislike, right?
Yeah, I think it's been a pretty chaotic four that have wreaked havoc on the tribes from day 1 to day 45. So they've burnt a lot of people in their wake.
Right. Polly looks like, I'm not interested in any of you. That shirt that he had was very nice.
Yeah, the sparkles were fun.
Yeah.
So so maybe you're thinking that Kaylin can win because the others who he would go against are so hated?
Could be.
That the jury might just say, I can't stand those other people. And
except for Zara. Zara has her buddies over there. So maybe Zara, but they're mad at Zara too. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Well, this is the great part about Survivor. The people that you vote out have to pick you to be the winner. That's what makes it so exciting. Well, there's a lot of talk about what Zara did wrong last night and how it's going to affect her today. And they sort of end Tribal by AJ saying that he's basing his vote tonight or something like that because he can spell Zara's name.
And then they
mean. Oh my gosh.
Come back from the commercial and they play it again like, ouch.
Yeah.
Wow. That's got to hurt.
Yeah, and he's been friends with her for maybe not on the best terms, but they've lived together for 45 days.
Right, he should have said it differently.
But I guess AJ, too, knows how to play to the show.
Sure.
Knows how to make a presentation. So then they go to the voting booths, and I'm thinking, all right, we're getting ready for fire. They've got to be, prepping the flint in the back, ready to wheel out their wheel carts.
Right.
Here we go, AJ versus Zara. And we read, 1 vote Zara, 1 vote AJ, 1 vote Zara. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Next vote AJ.
Right.
And JLP says the final, or whatever number
the next person,
voted out is Zara. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, it was so sad. But
I really thought she was going to fire.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I thought it was very well spoken when she left. She said it was a privilege to be part of the graduate crew. I mean, you got to give her kudos. She did an excellent job, right? She was the final female there. And boy, did she stick to her guns, and she fought every inch to get there. And good job. I can't say anything negative. Well, in the beginning, I thought maybe in the beginning I said some negative things. But at the end, she did such a great job.
She grew on us a lot over the season.
Well, I like in Zara's testimonial at the end, her confessional, she said, you boys better have a good story to tell when it comes down to the final two. So she's really bummed that she got voted out this close to the end. Oh. And I don't blame her.
Yeah, it has to be devastating.
Right.
I don't understand when the females could not stick together like the males did.
Nope.
They just couldn't do it.
It always seems that in the games of survival, they're saying, let's stick together all the guys, all the women, but they never do in the end.
Well, these did. These three brains did.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see that Miles and AJ really did make it very close to the end together, and they brought their buddy Kaylin.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
So should we make some predictions about what's going to happen in the next episode?
Yeah, so let's see. What do you think?
Well, I'm still voting for Miles, my first choice, and I would love to see him win. So it comes down to if Kaylin can, stand on those little pieces of wood longer than anybody else, and he takes Miles, right? Is that what, or does it automatically go to fire?
No, I think for a final two situation, I think whoever wins immunity tomorrow will be able just to choose who they take to final two.
Right.
That's my understanding.
Right. And so I think that Kaylin's going to take AJ and Miles will be out. And then I think that AJ will win based on playing a better strategic game than physical game.
I agree. I think that Kaylin will most likely win and take AJ, but I would hope that Miles can somehow sneak into the final two and win. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but that would be my hope.
That'd be exciting.
So I think Miles, based on his size, might be able to win this immunity. But can he stand the pain? And I guess it does seem like Kaylin can endure more pain than anyone else. I have to say I'm voting for AJ either way. I don't care what happens. I just want AJ to win at this point.
I think AJ will be in the final two for sure. I don't see him winning this challenge tomorrow, but I see him in the final two.
How has he not won any challenges? But I also have to say, it seemed like this last challenge, it was built once again to Miles' height. And AJ and Kaylin were taller. You saw Kaylin had to spread his legs out really far to squat. And AJ was just too tall. And I don't understand why this season they're not making it towards everyone's body type.
I think that's just part of the challenge of being on Survivors. Can you handle it? I don't know. Yeah, because even Zara was having trouble lifting herself up over the tall rails and everything.
Right. I don't know. It's very interesting. But anyway, Zara, very sad to see you go. But congratulations to the boys. Or men.
Yeah, it was interesting that in Miles, as he was announcing his vote at the confessional booth, he said that it was basically like payback for not sticking with him last vote. So unfortunately, I think Zara's vote last night taking out Kate, while it looked like it would have been good for a game, I think it really sort of led to her downfall this episode, which is too bad.
Right.
Payback.
Unfortunately, because Kaylin and AJ weren't going to break, and then Miles, said this is it. But if she would have voted out one of the others and left Kate, I don't know. She might have been voted out again today. Right. Because Miles might have thought, well, I can probably win over Kate better than I can Zara.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's hard to say how it all would have turned out, but it is too bad that, Zara's big vote is kind of what led to her downfall this episode.
Yep.
Right.
But she did a great job, and we are so excited for the finale tomorrow. I can't believe it's already here. We are so excited to see how the jungle rat and what does AJ call himself? The Emperor. And then challenge enthusiast Kaylin all come together for this final three.
Record holder Kaylin.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to all three of them. Think of all the people that have been here and have been eliminated. Some on absolutely no thought, just on bad luck, they were voted out. You feel so badly for everyone who was just like, no one got to know them. No one even, they got voted out. So congratulations to these top three.
They did an excellent job, and we're excited to see how it all works tomorrow. So make sure to follow us over on Instagram at ATA Survivor, TikTok at ATA Survivor, and send us an email at ataustraliansurvivor@gmail.com and let us know who you think is taking home the title of Sole Survivor tomorrow night. We'll see you then.
Bye.